Okay, so we actually do, or we make to actually make two type of errors, so two type of mistakes. Well, when we perform our hypothesis testing, that is, we know one is the type 1 error and the other one is the type 2 error, type 1 and type 2 errors. That means in type 1 error, suppose we have a null hypothesis here where it says that Raju is innocent, and then the other one is the alternative hypothesis where it says that Raju is guilty. Alright, so when we perform our hypothetical test, or when we perform our hypothesis with help of any statistical test, it may be like I have here in my case, I've taken one example of say t-test. Alright, uh, so when we calculate this, sometimes what we get is we get the t calculated value to be greater than the tabulated value, and in that case what we do, as per the decision rule, we know that we reject the null hypothesis. But actually the true hypothesis is what? The true hypothesis should be that what? T calculated should be less than the tabulated value. Here we are making a here we are making the error, and or actually it is also called as the type 1 error. Or in type 1 error, what we are actually doing is we are rejecting h naught when it is true. That means like Raju is supposed to be innocent, but what we are getting here is we are rejecting h naught. That means we are accepting the alternative hypothesis. That means what we are saying, Raju is guilty. But actually I mean in the truth is that Raju is innocent, right? But we are rejecting this null hypothesis which is true, and we are proving it that Raju is guilty. So it's a mistake that we might make when we do our hypothetical test or hypothesis testing. Now we also make one another mistake, that is the type 2 error. That means what we do is we accept the null hypothesis when it is false. That means what do we get in our test result? In our test result, what we get is t calculated is less than the t tabulated value, as per our decision making principle that we have in our hypothesis testing. But actually the value should have been t calculated is greater than the tabulated value, but it is false here. That means here in this case what we are doing is we are exactly doing the opposite of what we are doing here. Here we are getting the calculated value to be less than the tabulated value, but we were actually supposed to accept the alternative hypothesis. That means Raju is supposed to be guilty. Alright, but what we are doing is we are proving Raju to be innocent, which is not true or which is false. So that's why it is false here, right? So this is just the exact opposite, we can say, like. But in simple sense, what we can understand, or I mean how to remember this thing is like, in type 1 error, what we are doing is we are rejecting the null hypothesis when it is true. Remember, both are null hypothesis, h naught here and h naught here. Fine. So what we are doing here is in type 1 error, rejecting h naught when it is true. Of course, this has to be in your technical part to be remembered. And in type 2 error, what we are doing is we are accepting h naught when it is supposed to be, when it is actually false, and we are accepting the alternative hypothesis, and uh, we are proving it to be guilty, right? Sorry, to be innocent. So anyway, what you can remember is you can just make a screenshot of this. I mean this part of the calculation that I simply made. So you can remember it in a way like how to remember the two different type of tests. I mean the errors that we could make or we might make while doing our hypothetical test. Okay, fine guys, that's all for today again now guys. You can check it out for the next upcoming videos. Okay, thank you.